1, 2, 3. Should we pull a Joe Rogan?
Yeah, of course. Why not?
No, love him too much. Anyways,
Let's get it.
hey guys, what's up?
Let's go.
So, I guess we should jump. No, we can't just jump into it. There has to be an introduction. Who are we?
No. But like general introduction, like we can each introduce ourselves and then go into it.
Okay, sure.
Just
Or,
like one by one.
just welcome to EVA Real Estate Podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
very
the first
simple,
pilot
very small.
episode, yeah.
Yeah.
The
Fir-
pilot episode.
Is it pilot? Should we mention pilot episode or
No.
yeah? Just
The first
welcome
episode.
to EVA Real Estate. If it's the first one, just as introduction to
Yeah,
see
because-
us, to know about us, then we just make it casual.
Yeah.
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 Then you start it up then. Why not?
All right. 1, 2, 3,
Let's
go.
Write
Welcome,
it down.
guys.
Let's go.
Welcome, guys, to EVA Real Estate. I'm very happy to be here
Who are
at
you?
our episode, at our first episode of the podcast. My name is Mikhailo. I go usually by Michael. It's easier to pronounce for most of people, but
I would only call you Michael, to be honest.
yeah, I know it's
Well, you
way
call him
very
Michael, I
easy.
call him Misha.
Yeah. I'm an agent in the primary market department here in EVA Real Estate with over 2 years of experience in the market, and joined here with those very
Gentlemen.
very experienced gentlemen. Well, I hope you. I hope you
I
are.
hope so too. Bloody
You look like gentlemen.
hell. Yeah,
Get to know that.
How you doing, man?
All good,
Yeah.
all good. Pleasure to work with you, really.
No, thank you.
It's been short period, but I feel like I'm within my family in here, really. And Al-Khan, I know you. I know how much experience you have in Dubai market. I'll just, you know about me, but I'm gonna just tell to people how
Yeah,
many years
go for it.
I've been here. I've been in Dubai for over 14 years,
Yeah.
and the real estate industry for over 7 years. I used to work in recruitment, so I'm mixing both experience actually into real estate. It's not that
I've got a lot of questions to ask you about that, by the way, because I have been genuinely thinking since the last time you told me that. How have you been able to fuse these two industries together? Because it must have worked very successfully, I think.
It works really well because for me, I didn't see that I'm changing career. I saw it as I'm adding value to myself, learning something new, and it's mixing both in terms of helping people.
Yeah.
Because when I used to do recruitment, I was helping people. I was searching for people. I was guiding people. I was interviewing people. So knowing their personalities, knowing what they want, and if they are the right fit or not.
Hey, you must have met a lot of random people.
I met a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
So, hey, talk to us about some of the guys who never made the role,
So-
never made the cut.
No, I used to do something, and this is me personally. When I see that someone is not fit for the role, I tell them straight away. I don't say I'm gonna get back to you after 1 week or because some people they are really amazing. Their profiles are excellent, but they're not fit for the team that they're joining. They're not the right fit,
What
not
do
the
you
right
mean? Like
personality. Personality-wise.
Okay, wow.
And when it comes to technical, they might be the best in the industry, but they're not the right fit
Yeah, maybe they're an
within a
introvert,
company.
For example, yeah, in an extroverted environment. Yeah, I get
So
you.
I was just saying it straight away, like, yeah, you are amazing, you're good, you're that, but the role requires 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, HR is a big, as far as I know, like human resources in general, the industry on its own. It's the huge combination of a lot of like industries within itself, because you have to, like, you have to hire people, you have to analyze people. There are a lot of psychologies put into that, and you have to just like be like a scanner. You always have to look for the right people. You always have to. It's a sales at the same time.
Come on, that's like, honestly, that is like picking a needle in a haystack.
When I used to hire sales, I used to always hire sales from outside.
Yeah, it's sales on
Seriously.
steroids.
Just meeting random people and having a random chat with them, and I know they're a good fit.
You're right. I met a hotelier once. He was like a restaurant manager. Man, this guy was good.
Yeah.
sold me 1,000 dirham bill before I could even see what.
No.
Like, damn, okay.
But some people are like that.
I would
Some
not
people-
hire him after that.
Oh, those are exactly the kind of guys he wants.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly the kind of guys he wants. Guys and girls, for that matter.
But those are, like those, and I think a lot of people generally like to bring up like natural born salesmen, and like the people who been taught sales and who learn sales on themselves. So it's a very, very, very interesting topic to
But
to
for
discuss,
sales,
honestly.
like the good that you brought this on. For sales, is very important the product you're selling. If you're selling diamonds and whatever cars, you need someone like this. But if you're selling real estate, you need someone that is more advisor than a salesperson. Someone that sells the experience. So from stage one, explaining and guiding through the process, knowing the laws and regulations, until the key. Or if he's buying something under construction, like you're explaining everything. You're selling the process, the experience of the customer. You're not selling the product, because if someone buying a house, they will buy the house at the end of the day. They decided they want to buy the house, but who they are gonna go with? Someone who's just trying to sell for them, or someone who's just
Who actually care?
really care and guiding them through the
Like
process.
ask questions for don't ask questions for the sake of asking questions, but when you're asking questions like, do you have parents? Do you have kids? Do you have
The qualifying
you want
is,
to find out why. I mean,
but qualifying also is not. You can't just ask random questions or ask the important questions in qualifying people straightforward. You have to know the person first, and then understand their personality. Maybe they are not open to talk. Or they're shy, or you just don't want to share information. You can't ask someone like, how much is your salary? I don't want to. Who are you? I don't want to tell you how much is my salary, or how many kids do you have?
Are people still worried
cannot
about
ju-
that today?
Yeah.
I mean, are
Yes.
people still very
I mean,
secretive and conservative about
but
their salary?
Yes.
people are always
I've not worked on a salary for like, I don't know, 10 years.
they are a
So
very
it's like
still-
when you work on commission, I think that mindset just disappears over time.
Yeah.
I don't say that as a pomp. I think that a lot of agents would agree with me.
but most people work on the
But most people who work on commissions would agree with what I said. Like,
yeah.
at one point down the line, if you take your discipline and treat it as a career, at some point it becomes your engine for money, right?
It is like, you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty much.
You're treating it as it's your own business. You're
Because
not,
that's going to be paying dividends to you, right? It's not going to be paying you a fixed salary.
Of course.
Because you're going to be putting in efforts, and that effort will be reflected in the form of money.
True.
So you put in more effort, you're going to get more out of it.
And a lot of people, they don't only do real estate in terms of commission based. They do insurance, they do stocks, shares, whatever.
So it's always
Cryptos.
weird still with these binary salaries. I mean,
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
But this is what I wanted to actually bring it up as well, because most of the people, they do have a salary, so they are not.
well, I know I'm
yeah.
not naive of that. So I
Yeah,
know that
because
99% of the world really.
But yeah, some
Yeah.
people, they will not. If
They
a
are not-
random person,
They definitely don't want to disclose this information
Like,
because they
would
think
you accept?
in the mind.
Would
is
you
like,
accept if I come and how much commission do you make?
No, of course not. Of
Exactly.
course.
See,
But
it's the same thing.
This is a
Do you
very
know me?
secretive. This is a very sensitive topic. A lot of
Exactly.
people don't want to bring up their families. A lot of people don't want to bring up, especially the money topic. Has been a
Of
very,
course, it's
very
very
sensitive
important.
topic
So
for
quali-
pretty much a lot
qualifying
of
people,
That's
you
an
need to take it
individual's humility, I think,
step by
depending
step
on-
into qualifying the person and understand their needs. It's a step by step.
Well, how did you fuse that in terms of bringing that from recruitment into real estate? What did that
Because it's
teach
all
you?
about knowing people, and
Okay.
it's very difficult. It was very difficult process for me to shift that mindset from recruitment, because in recruitment people will tell you anything.
Right.
They need the job.
Sure.
You are the one who was asking the questions and they have to answer. But in real estate it's the complete opposite.
You have to be the one with the answers.
You are the one who wants my money. But so so how to get to that level? It all comes down to how to talk to people and how to make them feel comfortable and how to be honest. Of course, you have to be honest, otherwise they will not trust you. They will not share with you anything.
Opinions on that, brother.
And this is the problem we have in Dubai.
It's
A
not
lot,
a problem.
What about you, Misha? What industry did you come from? You mentioned transport, right?
Yes, logistics and transportation. I used to work in the United States. I used to have a piece of the company there, but things worked out the way where I'm here in Dubai working in real estate. And actually, I was studying real estate when I was in the US. So that's
were you associated with any kind of road constructions? Are you familiar with infrastructure and so on?
Well, yes, but I used to drive semi trucks as well. So apart from being holding like part of the partial management position there, so I was driving semi trucks. I saw how the cities are built and things like that. And the way I want to actually say that here in Dubai, the roads are very different than they are anywhere else in the world, especially in the United States. And here's way less traffic than there is anywhere else in the world.
It's
And
very
the simpler
I think you get spoiled a bit quickly the longer you stay here. Like the guys who are staying here, I've been living here for 30 years, and the traffic's a nightmare here. Oh, it goes.
You've never been to Los Angeles, where it's
No, I
like,
haven't actually.
yeah, the roads are just, to go down 4 miles, it's hour and a half.
No thanks.
Or even more
I've
than
been to
that.
Moscow.
Been to Egypt?
I've been to Moscow.
I'm
I know
from
what that's
Egypt.
like.
Oh, Moscow is like something like that as well.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
It's very similar.
Really
I remember
crazy.
it was like a 11-mile trip or something. Fairly close. What was that, 15 kilometers?
Yeah,
Yeah,
18.
hour and a half. Like, it's crazy.
It is, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but this is like that. Yeah, so I had a thing or two like learned there from the United States, from the logistics and transportation industry, and you look at the things that are happening here in Dubai from a very different perspective, because it's very new to me. Still, 2 years here in Dubai, I live already, and. It's a very, very interesting world to live in, and especially this city is going places.
What about you? Did you bring in anything from the transport world into this?
Honestly, can't think of any.
No?
Can't think of any.
Throw his hands up in the air.
What about
Wild
you?
Nope.
What about you?
I was
believe
in
you were in finance,
I
right?
was in
Yeah.
finances before. It
Banking.
was in global banking. Did a bit of studying back. Left school, straight to work. Joined the bank eventually. Oh, look at this! Check this out. When I came into the markets, when I was like 17 years old at the time, first I had to join a. Okay, I'll try to condense this just so no one falls asleep. 17 years old, right? I get hooked, somehow caught by this Arabic fella, Ahmed, right? Tall Lebanese guy, says, "Do you want a job?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Brings me into Bakers and Spice at the time. I was working as a operations coordinator for this restaurant, chain of restaurants. I stayed there for a little bit, and then coincidentally, this is a long time ago, like I can't remember how many years ago, the banking sector in Dubai really needed Russian speakers. I'm like, what's going on here? You know? This is
That's me.
This is an interesting predicament, because I'm like 18 years old at the time, and they're like, okay, you are going to be tested in the Russian language, obviously. Like, I had 4 interviews to get into this company. I'm not going to be naming any companies for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Right, but I come in there. Who's doing my interview?
Imagine
if it was me.
In the Russian language.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Who's today one of my closest friends. He was an Arab from Jordan. He is an Arab from Jordan.
Oh wow.
His Russian is on par with a 5-year-old's Russian, right? So, and the company had no idea. That he was that bad. He sat there as a Russian expert, right? And I'm 18 years old at the time. I don't know what's going on yet, right? And I'm like, okay, I do have a love for numbers, sure. I pursued it to some degree, yeah. This is a bit weird, Like, I'm getting tested by someone who doesn't know Russian about the Russian language in the world of banking. I don't know anything about banking at this point. They put me into a department, and
But you know Russian.
I know Russian, yeah.
And that was the requirement.
Like, put you in a company. Coincidentally,
Exactly.
Right? We're talking about wild coincidences. Anywho, at that time, the banking sector was on absolute fire. Right? We're talking about not monthly, quarterly bonuses of Mercedes SLKs at the time,
Wow.
right? It was a big deal in the banking world. To be a relationship manager in 2005, 2004, it's the highlight of your career in banking in this country, as far as anyone's concerned. Because it was roughly around the time before the 2008 crisis, right?
Yeah.
You can imagine what's going on in the banking scene at this time, especially in the investment banking scene.
I've heard a lot about what happened back then.
Yeah, and we were working in that sector. So eventually after that, I stayed there for about 4 years, fell in love with numbers, pursued an education in it, and then I moved to real estate. And then real estate was a complete coincidence as well. Like I don't think, it was because someone screwed me over. That's why I came to real estate. Yeah, it's because someone told me in the bank when I was there. It was this Indian fella. I'll never forget this bastard. I remember his face clearly, but I can't fucking remember his name. He told me, he's like, mate, there's a company up there who's doing crazy real estate. You're earning like triple the amounts of money you are here. Probably like 22 years old at this point. I'm like, damn, you know, sounds good.
Sounds promising.
Sounds enticing, doesn't it? Let's go have a look. Get over there, and I'm wowed by this company, which is all a facade, by the way. Yeah. It's all a show, because it's that manipulative hook for the clients.
There is a lot.
Yeah.
Like
Very
that.
similar to the guys coming in there for interviews. I eventually moved to that company, but what I come to discover within about 3 months is that the reason that this fella made me that recommendation to go there is because his wife works there. And if she brings in anybody through the refer program, right,
Okay.
that she's going to be making some money off of my deals. And she did, right? But that was the introduction into real estate that I had.
And without telling you.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Yeah. He didn't tell me a damn word. I only come to find out later. Down 3 months.
But would you say that the world? No, obviously it's like the world of finance brought you into absolutely different qualifications to be a real estate agent from the very beginning, right? It's
well,
like
finance. I mean, sure, it's helped me tremendously in my sphere now.
Because a lot of
But I think that's one of the nicest things about this market in particular, right? It's not like the more mature markets where you need to go and pursue an extensive education in this. You meet people from all around the world with all sorts of disciplines, ex-disciplines that is, right?
Yeah.
Who are moving into this sector. And you know what? At least 20% of them are making it a career. And those ones who make it a career, who find this fusion between ex-industry and current industry, they're killing the market. They're leading the market.
Yeah.
Remember, we had this discussion.
Those kind of street smarts that you would need in an industry like this.
We had this discussion before about the agents in real estate industry, that 80% of them are trying the industry.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah, 15% they are dedicated, but they are not pursuing it as a career.
Yeah.
They are making money. They are very good, but it's not their career. It's a hit and run thing. And
It wasn't always the case like that, though. I think it's only like this new generation of agents coming in. You must have noticed this. This is like post-COVID, right?
There's a lot of agents, like compared to 10 years ago, like the numbers.
Oh, of course,
it's going.
But a lot of people. There's also a big factor.
And even companies. How many companies now?
There's a big factor plays in this: the population of Dubai, and the growth of Dubai in general. Like obviously, it will attract a lot of people into the industry. It's the same goes as the good times in the economy, good times in the markets and stuff like that. That brought, you know how many agents brought in the United States alone when how many years was the economy was in a bullish market? Like it was going for crazy amount of years.
4 years, 3.5
I think more than that.
Really? Which
I think more than that. I think from 2014 up until 2020.
From which year to 2020?
From 2014 there was like a bullish market till 2020, till the corona started.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
And you know how many agents in the United States alone it brought into the market. A lot of people went crazy over getting the real estate licenses.
True.
Yeah, so that's the point of here in Dubai. It's growing, the industry growing itself, the city is growing, the population is growing, so therefore a lot of agents.
There's a lot of growth happening already, but I will talk about the industry.
Growth, by the way.
Yes,
It is organic growth, but there is one very important topic that I want to talk about when it comes to the industry. And at the beginning, it was better when it comes to dealing with the real estate companies, brokerage, whatever. all the companies before, and there was only few companies, and definitely I'm not going to mention names of the companies, they were working only on retaining base.
Yeah.
And they shifted, not them, I mean, there was a lot of new companies came in working on a contingency base. Contingency base means that they will do the job first.
Yeah.
If they deliver, then they get paid. So how I found this out, because this was happening also in the recruitment industry, that a lot of companies at the beginning, they used to do retaining, and I can name them, only few. And then all the new companies came to the market, they work on a contingency base. They deliver CVs, and then if someone was selected, then they get paid.
Okay, yeah.
Same concept happening in real estate. And that's why a lot of sellers, buyers, they can just work with whoever, and that creates actually chaos.
It does, yeah.
And Dubai Land Department, government, they are actually fixing this now, and it's happening already. That you cannot work with more than 3 agents. You cannot sign with more than 3 agents.
It's a step in the right direction.
Exactly. But if all the agencies are working on retaining base, so they're not going to list properties. So, for example, with the portals, unless it's signed, unless there is an agreement, which is still happening, but there is no commission.
What is this agreement?
Like,
explain to the viewers, what agreement are you talking about?
When it comes to sellers, you have to sign something called contract A. And when it comes to buyers, you have to sign a contract B.
Yeah.
Most of the buyers, they don't sign contract B unless they find the property.
Yeah, but I think you need to give some more context to these contracts, because maybe some people are, watching you, and they have no idea what these contracts
let's
are.
give an example.
Yeah.
You are an agent. I'm the buyer. I want to buy, so I contacted you. I'm looking for 1 bedroom in downtown. My budget is 2 million, blah, 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 blah. So you showed me around.
Okay.
And I liked the property. We didn't sign any documents. Still, it's a random call. I called you. You have a property. Then you showed me other properties. Nothing is documented.
Okay.
And at the same time, most of the buyers, they're calling how many other agents through the portals?
Oh, yeah,
Plenty.
For the same property.
So it could be for the same property, it could be for other properties. So what you did is you came, you showed me around, you advised me, you give me the details, you told me every detail I need to know, but I didn't like the property you have. Or I didn't want to take that apartment. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to work with you. The point is, I am capable of showing you everything. So working with one agent is very important than working with this and working like 3 agents is done, because we will end up having the same.
You think that?
I'm talking about the current, and I'm talking about the current situations, because one seller is listing with 3 agents, for example, and one buyer is contacting the 3 agents, and the 3 of them are signing with the seller. What about the buyer?
When you say signing, again, give context. Signing exclusivity of their property.
If it's exclusivity, then there is no discussion. It's exclusive.
So
it's only with one agent.
Sign up, so this agent can. Basically, what Mohammed is trying to say, I think, is that the signing with this agent, between agent and client, is basically, I've given you a property, now you're allowed to list it. Is that what you mean?
Yes, this is only for marketing, listing.
Yeah. That's for listings. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
I don't want to go into like technical forms and stuff.
I can look. I think I know a lot of people understand what you say, but there are people maybe a little bit younger than us, maybe a lot younger than us, who don't know these things. So you might want to give context to these things.
I will give more details. So what's happening now with Dubai Land Department, that they are allowing 3 agencies to list the property. Listing the property means that they're allowing to advertise the property on the property portals. Such as all the portals. So if I'm giving to 3 different agencies, signing with them contract A, which is the form to advertise, and then one buyer is not signing contract B with one agent.
What is contract B?
Contract B is the contract between the agent and the buyer.
And the buyer, okay.
Yeah, so the buyer will be...
So basically, the buyer is being represented by the agent, and this form is the declaration of that.
And I actually will tell you what's happening, because this causes so many unfairness and so many issues. If I should, it happened actually recently, and I'll give a live example. Someone, an agent, signed with another agent because the seller is giving only to this guy, this person exclusivity. So he signed a Form I, which is agent to agent agreement.
Okay.
That this
Between
agent
two
has a
agents or
buyer.
agencies, yeah.
Yes, you have the property, you have the seller. So I want my buyers interested in that property. The agent took the person, showed the property, it was amazing, he liked it, and then they knew each other over the phone. They had a discussion not about the same property, about another property.
Who is there? The agents?
The agent and the buyer.
Okay.
Because the buyer is calling more than one agent.
Yep.
And he did not sign with one agent. So he ended up going behind the person who showed them the property, going direct with the seller's agent, signing with them, and buying the property. And this agent who brought the buyer went out with nothing.
Yeah, I see.
There's still legal actions.
I think in a case like this,
there are documentations, there are signed contract with the agent, and.
But this is the system that you're talking about is the one that is
This
usable in the United States.
Why I'm saying all these things is because this is all coming from contingency-based process.
No, of
agreements.
Course. Of course.
If it's retaining, you know from beginning, I have a seller, I'm not gonna work on this property unless you sign with me exclusive. I have a buyer, I'm not gonna find you a property until you sign with me. Why is it random? You know what I mean?
I don't think that there will be a lot of exclusive contract Bs, right? Between the buyers and the agent, is because they're like, you know, a lot of buyers, they want to feel more freedom. As well goes as for the contract A, right, between the sellers and agencies.
But if we teach buyers,
this thing works only, like, for the most part, this system works in the United States, where the market is over, let's be honest, like over 200 years old, and there are so many regulations and laws implemented in place. Whereas to become an agent, you have to go through the school with the specific purpose of this education is to know the laws.
Which should be here as well. It's the
same
thing.
It should. And
It is like this here.
It is like this here. People have to study.
The market here is not as mature as it is in the United States, and we have to understand
that's
this.
obvious.
But it will be mature at some point.
Yes, and therefore, but this is the regulation that we have from the Dubai Land Department, whereas we have the 3 agents working on one property only. Yeah, this is the very new one.
Considering the fact that we're doing these podcasts, hopefully for the foreseeable future, one of the reasons obviously is to educate, right? So, I mean, you want to make sure that your information is accurate as it can possibly be, right? And actually get called off on the bullshit that sometimes you make mistakes on, right? What I've been thinking about in terms of this industry for a long time is that its foundation is pretty clear, right?
Yeah.
You have the groundworks of Dubai real estate, or the UAE real estate. Dubai specifically, actually, because DOD is involved in this. And this foundation is actually held together by these, axiomatically held together, right? It's not a matter of opinion, but by these 5 pillars, you could say.
Yeah.
Right? So, and it works like a chain. It's like a chain of responsibility, where one gear in that clockwork system starts to get rusty. You start seeing the damages across that fabric. So you obviously got the consumers, right? You got the investors, the people who are looking to buy property, right? One of these pillars. You got the other pillar who are the brokers, us, in other words. Another one is part of who we are, the brokers, the brokerages, so the agencies. Then you got the developers, and then you have the government, right? So you got this system that's working, right? Sure. It's working well so far, right? But there are small cracks here and there. And you know, where you find one crack, it starts to ripple into the other pillars. I'll explain what I mean by that. Right?
It's like compare the market now to 10 years ago. There is a lot of improvements, a lot of changes happening. So it is going in the right direction. But if we did not mention these things, how it can be fixed?
You're absolutely right, and that's the whole purpose of this. And I think that we ought to address these points in isolation right? So when we talk about consumers, right, when we talk about buyers who are coming into this market, what should our consumers know?
Yeah.
What you're entering an industry, right? And no matter what way you look at it, as an investor, you have to understand that you're entering an investment industry, right? Yes, we're not taught about this in school, fine, right? But if you speak to anyone who has any form of experience that has at least 5 years of it, they'll tell you, right? Real estate is still an investment industry, no matter how you look at it. So if you're here to buy a home for yourself, well, it's always nice to think about, yeah, it's my home, so I shouldn't care about the price. No, you should care about the price.
You have to think of the exit plan. Is it an exit plan? Doesn't mean it's personal.
No, you have to make sure that you have to make sure that an exit plan is actually even possible.
Yes,
right,
exactly.
Because if you're coming in there, right, and you're buying this home for 4 million dirhams in the time of peak, and you're buying it for yourself, and you don't care about the price, well, did you make that 4 million so easily where you can close your eyes to half of that money?
Yeah.
No, I'm sure.
Well, come on.
No one did.
I mean, it's still an investment industry, and that's the way you ought to treat it. And if you're coming into, and there are many industries, right? If we talk about the different kind of entries to all these different investment industries, real estate is among the highest of these,
It is,
right?
it is.
It is so capital intensive that it is not the stock market, it is not the financial market, it's not the digital asset market. You can enter those with $1, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Real estate, if you actually talk about real estate, not that timeshare nonsense and not those, fractional dividend payouts on commercial properties, none of that nonsense. Real property is what I'm talking about.
It's like you're comparing Bitcoin with the newest.
Yeah, and you have to understand that as a consumer, that is a very difficult industry to enter because of how much capital you need to pour up together just to enter it.
But some people just don't, it's not like they don't know, they just don't even seem to realize, because me as an agent, I've been talking to a lot of people and they say, oh, I just want to buy a house, and you asking question or two, things like that, and then in the end of the day you find out that they want to buy a house with a $20,000. Like, what do you want? To be fair, like, what kind of house do you expect? I mean, like, I can build a tent for you and, like in the middle of a desert and sell it to you for you. But eventually, like a lot of buyers have to go into research.
I get it. I get those kind of statements. I can understand them completely because I come from the part of the world where you can buy properties for $20,000. You can, right? But you have to understand, like another problem amongst, when we talk about the 5 pillars, brokerages, right? One of the major reasons in terms of why agents are finding these kind of consumers, and now they're stereotyping even the consumer to this point, is that brokerage companies, they're just ready to, get you whatever clients that they can possibly can. It's a different industry now, right? It's not the same as it used to be where they give you a laptop and a phone and say, good luck, there's your table, and I hope your career all the best that we can do, and then give me half of your money.
It's
right?
crazy.
Now they've adapted. They're giving you clients. They're giving you leads. Fine, right? If you're a serious company, if you're a serious player in any market of real estate in today's time, in a first world country, and you are not providing your sales force with an ample database, an ample source of lead generation, you are missing the mark entirely. And your company will be declared bankrupt in a matter of time.
And it's not only about only lead generation. Lead generation is very important, and also continuous education.
That's true.
Very important. Because as you said, like
continuous education, 100%. Actually, I want to pull back what I said a few bits there. I don't think it will lead companies into bankruptcy, but I think that it is the right adaptable approach in terms of how the consumers, right, how the market has been pushed and evolved in a different way now. We're also used to getting these phone calls from the banks nowadays, getting SMS campaign runs, like we're getting advertisements all around social medias. It's so popular now, right?
Yeah.
So, I think a lot of companies that are adapting in that way will find a better stroke of success than companies that don't. That's the way I'll phrase that.
Yeah. But there's still a lot of companies that just don't do
absolutely.
these things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if you're not willing to put a horse in the race, and by that I mean your money in the race, then you can't even expect to win, right? There's no horse in there.
If people are willing to pay that much, they should do the due diligence. They should ask questions. They should qualify the people who they are working with. It's not that anybody was just showing me a property or offering me a new project that I just should work with them. They should follow certain process, certain procedures, and really go to a company that will help them.
Yeah.
It's you can see how many companies out there.
Mm-hmm.
All they care about how much money they make.
The quick buck, yeah.
That's it. Nobody cares about what's in it for the investor or what's in it for the person who's purchasing. And this is your asset, actually. Your assets are your clients. And if companies think of it that way, this is where the company becomes successful.
That's so true. Let's go back to the consumer, though. I mean, let's start us off with pillar number one, I suppose. What are your thoughts? What do you think the consumers should do before they enter the market? Well, again, understanding that it's one of the highest categories of investment industries, it's difficult to get into. So considering the fact that you're willing to take that much of a risk, because losing $1 million dirhams, it's entirely possible in real estate. It is entirely possible.
Well, not full. Not full $1 million dirhams.
There is.
I mean, if you invest $1 million dirhams,
depends when did you invest? Because can you predict the future?
Well, let me tell you one thing.
No, I think what Misha means, and the confusion here was that you can't lose 100% of your money.
Yes,
right?
You can.
No, never on real estate. 100%.
Maybe not in Dubai, but
I've seen it.
100%.
100%.
Here.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, yeah, I have.
Termination. You can't pay.
Absolutely.
Oh, termination of the. Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
you can't pay.
Absolutely right. Yeah. I didn't think that far.
You lose everything.
2000. What was it, like 9?
No, it's plenty. It's day by
There's
day
many
cases
times.
as well. There's
many
even
times.
just defaults as well. You lose 100% of whatever you pay. Your equity is gone.
Oh yeah.
When you look at the statistics, and let's just look at the statistics from the recession time, 2008, 2007, whatever. The curves, it's ups and downs until it goes to the peak. If you buy in the peak as an investor, you are in danger.
Common sense.
Simple, but
I hope investors understand that.
Yeah.
investors go and buy randomly without understanding the market.
I don't think there's many.
A lot of people they don't really.
Not this wave. Not this wave of investors. Maybe 2 waves ago. Maybe a wave.
I will give you a very simple example. Very simple example. I like to clean my house by myself.
Okay.
Because I like details.
He probably does it naked too.
Oh no, I don't want to know that.
It's a very simple example, okay?
Oh my god.
Seriously.
Okay.
So I like to do it by myself, organizing everything by myself, blah blah blah. Yeah. Some other people, they will call whatever company to come and clean their house, right? Because I know what I'm doing, and if it's not done the way I want, then there is a problem. Someone else, they will hire professionals to do the job. Some investors in real estate, they know the ins and outs more than any broker.
Damn right.
Okay.
Completely agreed.
More than any broker.
I don't think
there
that's
are
more than
all
of
of consumers who are
and
far educated.
They are
ahead
not
of their
even
peers.
educated in real estate. They don't have a real estate education, but they have a really wide business mindset, and they understand the market. They look for international statistics, not only Dubai. So they know everything. You actually would learn from them. I've learned from them a lot. Some others, they don't have the time to look properly, to do research. So they will look for a professional, a company to help them with the investment. So that's my point. You know what I mean? When they look for a company, then you tell them when to buy.
Yeah, I mean, you're completely right. I understand what you're trying to say, but you're saying to look for professional help is practically the following step.
That's why we're here. If everyone is like
me. You think no, hold on. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page.
Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong. What you're trying to say to me is that you think that consumers entering the market should approach an agent right from the go.
Some of them do, which they should, because they don't understand and they don't have the time to invest and learn about the market.
Yeah.
And others, yes, they know already everything. So whoever knows, they just do their own thing.
I completely agree with that.
The smart ones, they don't go buy from developers direct, to be honest.
Yeah.
The smart ones go and still consult an agency.
Because they might have distressed stock. Yeah, of course, that's obvious.
Because the agency has wider
there's many, there's plenty of reasons.
It would advise you which is the best one.
Come on, any investor who's been in the market long enough, they know they have to go through an agency if they want to find the best stock. Especially if stock is exclusive. Exactly. Who are you going to go?
Exactly.
Who are you going to go to?
Exactly. But this is the point, whereas even it doesn't matter whether it's an experienced investor or a new investor, they still have to go through the agency. And I truly believe that...
I disagree with that, actually.
I think it should
I think that look, let's be real, right? Most of the world operates on a salary, right? If you're on a salary basis, it means you have a very fixed time. You've got a 9 to 5, 9 to 6 kind of job, right?
Yeah.
You got a very small proportion of your day that is going to be left for you and yourself, right? We know that roughly the age of the average person in the world is 31 years old. A 31-year-old probably has a family, wants to come home, be with the kids, right? So maybe be with the family. I don't think it's fair to say that these people...
No, I agree with them, actually.
I don't think it's fair to say that those kind of people shouldn't get agents. They should. You're right in that case.
I agree with them.
These guys have a constraints on time, right?
Yes.
You're not expected to go to a 9 to 6 job.
You would be able to qualify your agent much more than someone who doesn't have experience, because you will know 100% that what he's saying is correct. As an educated investor.
Well, I'll tell you.
True as well.
I'll tell you.
I mean, even if you want to use a broker for the end of it, you should still study the industry that you're about to get into.
This is
at least
the
1
thing.
hour a day.
Obviously.
You should.
For a month.
You should.
I still
study.
think that we're missing a little bit of a picture here, because
And look, the reason why we're saying this, right? We'll
okay.
get to your point in a second. Why are we even addressing this? Because consumers are entering the market, and I've seen this time and time and time again. I've got many agents coming to me and complaining about this. The agents always say the same thing. Clients disappearing. Why? Why is that happening? Because the consumer doesn't know what he or she wants. It's like walking into I don't know, like a used car showroom, right? And you got this 1 million dirhams that you won in lottery. You're gonna probably want about 10 different cars, but you're only allowed to walk out of there with one. You're gonna be torn, right? And you've got 10 different sales agents coming to you. Buy the Bugatti, buy the Rolls Royce, no, buy the Ferrari, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
You're torn, and you can't blame the consumer for that at all.
You wouldn't know if you made the right decision.
But irrespective of that, if you're a consumer walking into the industry, right, what you're playing with is your livelihood. That's what you're playing with. Because if you put your faith in an agent who has nothing but the money as their agenda, you'll probably get burned by the market. Now, say that you're a mortgage buyer. Say that you're barely getting by and you want to get this nice 2-bed because you got a son or a daughter coming up along their way, about to be born, and you make a bad choice. You follow the wrong agents. You're in trouble, because if you take a mortgage for 25 years, that's you paying the price of that bad decision for the next 25 years.
I've seen it, and I felt so bad for these
100%.
people. I swear to God, 25 years mortgage, and they're struggling. They are really struggling. Location was wrong. Timing was wrong.
Yeah.
And they are my friends.
Yeah.
Before I even joined real estate, and they are struggling now.
Yeah.
A lot of people have.
And before anyone says, by the way, like even these kind of guys who get into these situations, sometimes exactly as you said, they buy in places which are so frozen in the investment domain that they can't sell it, whether it's a boom or a crisis.
That's true.
Yeah.
That actually, I had a client with
and imagine you're stuck with that for 25 years.
I had a client with me. She bought an apartment with in some of the areas, which was like literally in the middle of the desert, and she was crying to me on the phone that the agent just pushed her to buy that apartment because it was promising that the development will be the best one in the area, which is obvious. Like the area was the desert.
Yeah.
You can buy these properties with clarity that only if this is the only property you can afford and there's no other option.
Damn right.
That's it.
Damn right.
Because there is a property for every budget.
You know, agents are lazy. You know how agents are lazy? They enter this market and the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, what is your budget? Right?
It's not
now,
like
hold
that.
on a second. Hold on. You'll
should
see
not
what
do
exactly
like
what I
that.
mean by that. And this is
Was
what
it you?
infuriates
Was
me.
Never.
This is what infuriates me about the market today and all this fresh blood in it. They come and they start asking you, what is your budget?
It's important to know the budget, but not like that.
No, nice. When you do you think anyone in their rational mind will tell you their real budget?
It's impossible.
They don't even know their own budget. What are you talking about?
True.
They don't know it. Why are you asking them that? Why not take them through a journey in terms of what it is that they want?
You can't.
Find out the
This is the
criteria,
thing.
and then you'll understand gradually in terms of what is the big picture for this person.
Yeah.
Right? And when they come to you and they say, look, I've got $200,000 and I'm thinking about this investment, who cares what they think? Sit down with them and talk to them. It might turn out that they run a pharmaceutical company and they can invest $20 million, right?
True.
In one property.
In one investment, yeah. I mean,
True.
stop asking budgets, for God's sake. Speak to people instead. Find out what they're talking about. Find out what they do, bloody hell, right?
Qualify them.
This is the qualifying. But this is the same goes as for the investors as qualifying the agents as well, because
We keep cutting them off.
I'm trying to talk and on both sides.
I felt bad for him last time. I'm like, oh, I'll give it to him next time.
I already forgot what I wanted to say.
Stop.
Forget about it.
Anyways, go ahead. You were talking about something.
No,
so-
I was talking
Continue.
about a lot of things. let me remember all of the things that you were cutting me off in the middle of.
Oh, you put him on the spotlight.
Yeah.
You know, when you're put on the
All right.
spotlight and you start feeling
His
a bit
face-
stupid, you're like,
face
what was I
becomes
thinking
red
about?
already.
Yeah, already. I'm burning from you.
Look, it's turned into a tomato. Look at him. Look, it's how red he is.
Sorry,
Yeah,
man.
but what I wanted to say is that
Can you turn
that
red?
I can't.
Yeah.
no,
I'm tanned.
that's what you were saying about in the middle, at the beginning of the podcast.
I told you a racist joke is gonna pop in there somewhere. I love you.
Oh
man.
my god.
Cheers.
Imagine if I'm red. It's impossible.
Yeah, you'll probably turn purple, not red.
But yeah, what I wanted to say is the qualifying, it goes for both ways, because I mean, smart investors, they know how smart agents are, how they speak, how they talk, how confident they are. And you know, it's very, very important for investors to feel the agent, how comfortable are they working with them and things like that. And also goes for the agents. Just don't throw any, you know, it's not only like asking what is the budget of the client. It's also like, you know, don't throw any investment opportunities just in the face of the client. If he doesn't have enough money, just tell him, look, in your place, I would just hold on for a couple of years. I would just have this money as liquid and turn them into, like, invest in the right time or in the right project when it comes.
It's like a consultant should do.
Yes, but a lot of people, what a lot of agents do, they just like, okay, this project is let's sell it, let's push it forward. So
what do you think the consumer should do when they see this, when they hear
I'll tell
this?
you something about this actually.
Oh,
the
you're
consumer
playing.
part.
you're doing it again.
Hey, come on, take
No,
control
just-
of the table. Lead the conversation sometimes. You're a bloody sales agent. Come
I
on.
see a lot of companies, go to a well-experienced person, have a lot of knowledge, have a lot of experience, and they will guide you. It's not true in all cases. When I started real estate, I was fresh into the real estate, not a lot of knowledge. But when I was talking to clients, they were listening to me personally. This is how I was qualifying them based on the other experiences I have as a person. So to get to know them first and to get to know their needs, when it comes to knowledge, if you trust each other, which is the most important thing, and you know that this person is not gonna screw you, you will wait for the information. Some people, they go the extra mile. They don't know the information, but they will go and check the information. They will get you the right advice, the right everything. And a professional with 20 years of experience doesn't mean that he's the right person.
Damn right.
He could really screw you. And
Completely.
advice, like I'm just saying, when it comes to qualifying, you need to choose the right person. the right attitude.
But that's what I was saying as far as like the investors should feel also
Exactly.
the realtors.
What
yeah,
you're saying is that
Follow
even the
your
personality
guts.
should match.
Of course, it's very
Right?
important.
Between agents and clients. Yeah, I think that's very important as well. Yeah.
Very, very important.
Because they will know your taste, they will know what your preferences are without you even having to communicate. It will always be like telepathic.
yes, like telepathic
So
communication.
it's like, you know, like we have similar personalities. So if two people are maybe extroverted, they're charismatic, maybe they, you know, and the client's like, I want somewhere that's, you know, lively. Your agent will know exactly what you mean by that and pick you exactly the right properties for you.
And also there is another example. One of my team members before, a young guy, who was an introvert. So.
Yeah.
And he was very shy all the time, but he was good on the phone. And then he met the client afterwards. He did not have a lot of experience, but he is really trustworthy, and you could tell. He advised the client, he looked for information, he did everything, and the client gave him he turned out to be a really high profile with 40 million dirhams portfolio for this new guy. I give him everything exclusive. I want to only work with you because you're honest and because you want to learn and you're searching for everything I need.
Okay.
Well, it's
a small example.
It goes to another topic, whereas like you always have to work hard in order to be the lucky one.
What do you mean by this?
I mean, you always
how are those two things tied? You're either lucky or you're a hard worker, I think.
No, I think it goes for both of them.
It can, you know, there are realities where that's a possibility of.
I mean, like you'll never be just lucky. You cannot, you know, like walk like in this movie was Deadpool 2, where like lucky girl wears everything that she does. It turns out to be like luckiest thing, but yeah. Eventually, whether you work hard, an opportunity will come to you, whether you want it or not.
You have to be consistent.
Yeah, I like that.
You have to be consistent.
I like how you said that, definitely.
Yeah.
So what would you say to consumers then? If you had one thing to say to them?
To consumers, just be open. Just open your eyes to the opportunities. Because as far as I wanted to say also about the smart investors, right? The ones that are judging by their experience. Most of the people, they judge by their own experience. And what I wanted to also mention that a lot of people, doesn't matter whether you're a smart investor or a new investor in the industry, you always have to consult an agent, a broker, a brokerage, an agency in general. The reason for it being is because even your personal experience.
Don't you think that they should still, regardless of that,
research, of course, 100%, even 1000%.
So you think that both things have to be done together simultaneously?
Of course. But the thing is, the reason why the investors and buyers should open their eyes to, you know, like working with the agents and should put more trust into them is because a lot of investors, they see and judge based on the picture of their own experience.
Sure. Yeah.
Whereas we, as agents, we just meet and deal with a lot of those pictures at the same time.
Yeah, you've seen many of these experiences. Yeah,
and for us, it's just a movie, while they just look at the one screenshot. So it's very, it's a topic of, you know, like, doesn't matter how long you are in the industry. If you work a lot, you still get a lot of experience. Even like in 2 weeks, you can already have like several clients on the go. You can still have several owners listing with you. You can still have multiple buyers signing exclusive contracts with you.
That is true.
You know, whereas you can research the market on the real cases. Working
100%.
with other agents as well, you can research, you can get information from them, and therefore for you the whole industry is like
100.
Not 10 million.
No, seriously.
Keep adding zeros there.
no, but
don't wait for people. You have to go and get things done. You have to
of
go and learn.
Of course, but people also have to realize that for them, their experience, for us, is just a small picture of the whole movie.
Yeah. Like one thing I really like about here that when someone new comes, we put someone experienced with him to teach him and to give him more guidance. It's a really good method we are following here. It works.
Yeah, it's a
For the
complete
new
induction,
people without experience to come in, to learn from all people, to see real case and to see real scenarios.
But I mean, in terms of how the consumer would be coming here and seeing all of that, I don't think that's realistic, right? You should be that representation of this you know, visualization as you speak about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, I absolutely agree. I always said to my investors, anyone who've ever taken under my portfolio, you have to get educated. You have to get self-educated.
True.
You have to, right?
True.
Like every time that I've made the decision to go and, come on, we all do this. This is not new, right?
But also from the verified sources. There are so many portals where you read blogs, vlogs, or like, I even posted a video on my Instagram, which is like as a first sort of a video of mine as a reel. So, and I actually had an argument with one of the agents in the comments, which is very, it is a very funny story. But they were promising like huge numbers. They were over promising, exaggerating it like to the point of like unrealistic digits.
That's how the market gets stereotyped. It's exactly, you know, the first symptoms of a stereotyped market. I'm going to take my bloody jacket off.
Imagine me, I'm in
tied up, yeah.
I'm tied up.
Just corrected, yeah. Set it straight, yeah. But eventually what I wanted also to say is that agents should get education as well, because a lot of agents just go into the market, the developers saying this and they listen to this and eventually turned out a different way. It's like, you know, how do you say in English this phrase, broken telephone or
broken record?
Broken record, yeah. That's
just repeats them.
Yeah. So it's not the one that repeats it, but the broken telephone, where it's like, you know, the game where we used to play as a kid.
Oh, game of telephone. As the information just keeps getting misrepresented. Yeah.
And it's getting worse and worse in some cases. Like agents just have to go out there and actually see things. As I remember, you were doing the training.
So you think I took my jacket off just by coincidence? No.
No. So you're going into offensive, all right?
Really? You want to get into?
We're coming into a really sensitive subject to me right now, and it's one very close to my heart, and it's about these agents.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, do I feel a bad, you know, pinch of salt in my mouth when I say that word, or do I feel happiness when I hear the word agent in Dubai? Like, it's difficult to say. Like, what do you think? Because I've seen the cycles. I've lived through them. You know, I've advised through them, and it's almost like a persona of the market is represented with every cycle, right? So the first persona was a market of speculators. Clients were ready to give you their trust over whatever dreams that you were promising them, right? It was a very speculative market.
Yeah.
You know, after that came a different personification of the market. People were, this time, you know, they were very skeptical. It was a skeptical market at that time. You know, people just kept wanting to wait, go lower and lower. This time around, I mean, obviously the recession's not started, but, you know, I'm assuming that we'll have a different personification of investors as well, right? So during if there is a recession to come, right? But what I've noticed, while these cycles happen and these personifications happen, is that each one is looking at agents very differently, right?
Yes.
So the first personification was the speculators, right? They looked at agents like they were God sent. They're like, yes, you are the man, you are the woman, I need to buy something from you and you need to make me rich, kind of thing, right? Then when the speculators were gone, then we had the skeptics. Skeptics came in there and they're like, oh, you're an agent? Oh, I don't want to work with you.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, like you're just gonna suck my blood dry, and then I'm gonna have to give you, have to give you money as well for your existence.
Commission?
Like,
What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's like, why the hell will I give you money? Like,
seriously.
That was the second personification of the markets in terms of agents. Now this one is a bit of it's a bit of a hybrid of the two, really.
Mix.
Yeah, like people are still skeptical of agents. They'd rather find out what's going on with the developers directly. But then you also have people who are putting full faith and reliance on agents, right? It's a very different market this time, right? And I wanted to get your thoughts on the agents. I mean, do you think that they're doing things wrong? Do you think they're doing things right?
If you are with the right agent,
But how do you know that that agent is the right agent? That's the thing. You know, like you never know. You never know.
How do you know? Like, do you just go on gut feeling? And
that's
like you said, just
gut
go on
feeling,
basically personality has to match? What
gut
is it?
feeling is very important, but your gut feeling is without research and without
No, but one
studying
time
is your gut will be wrong.
one time or two times you might be not realizing that sometimes people in its own nature, they're very manipulative. A lot of people doesn't matter whether it's real estate, banking, or any industry, what's HR for that matter.
Are you saying
no, I'm just saying it's like you have this background.
Yeah.
Like,
That
right?
was a surreptitious punch. Just under the belt. It's
Actually,
like, there you go.
Don't interrupt me.
sorry.
He's even coughing. He's more funny.
No, because it's like
I'm tired.
Oh,
But well, from what I was saying, like people are very manipulative in their nature. So you might trust your gut once, but you don't know whether you've been manipulated in taking that decision or this decision. So you never know, right?
True.
So therefore, like thinking about like working with that agent or not working with that agent, you can never rely on your gut. To be honest, you can always, of course, like read a review or two. Think how that person speaks and what they are saying, and actually sometimes like checking some resources whether they are true or not. That's what I think.
Point, yeah.
That's what I think is the right approach towards the finding the right investor.
If a third recession happens, what do you think it will be like? Do you think it's going to be a skeptical market? Do you think we're going to have a completely different form of market at that point? I think it is going to be skeptical again. I think people are just going to push the agents away as they always do.
I think it's not going to be as skeptical. I think it's going to be the same as it is right now, which is, as you mentioned, like hybrid version of it. Whereas like I've had so many clients where it's like, oh, you're a realtor. It's so cool. It's so like how's the
I've
industry?
heard agents talking about their third parties, like third cousins or something in Australia, talking about how much these Dubai agents make, which is
it depends on what their needs are in a person also, because people are different.
Yeah.
Let's start from HR, my perspective. It's my personal perspective. It's not an argument. Okay?
HR is a human robot.
Human robot.
Look at it this way. Each person is absolutely different. Each client or consumer look at the other person differently. So they might like you, they might believe you, they might not believe you, they might not believe me. So they will work with you. Another person is the opposite. So each one works with someone. What we need to be clear about is they're doing the right thing or they're not.
Yeah.
That's it. They're following rules and regulations.
But sometimes some people,
or they're not.
But some people cannot, they cannot take this risk in terms of, let me find out whether that person is doing right thing or not. Yeah, because they have a one-time life savings.
They should.
I think they should. Yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
Especially if you're playing with your life savings.
Yeah.
Especially if you're playing with your life savings. You should test these people.
Yeah.
If it's an agent, you should test
normal. You should.
Yeah.
And I think that you're completely right as a consumer that at the end of it, if you don't like this agent, block them, don't answer to them. It's in your complete right. And as an agent, don't you dare get offended by that. It's in the person's right.
Why are you doing this to me?
No, I'm doing this. Because I know.
It's like,
don't you dare.
It's
like Greta Thunberg. Don't you? How dare you?
Well, he thought it was metaphorical. I was speaking to him.
He was looking at me and doing this to me. Like,
Don't
I'm
mess
the
with your
nicest agent.
Don't mess with your clients.
I teach people to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Seriously.
No, but another thing that is very funny, I had a client who's like, I had a Zoom meeting with him, and it was a very nice gentleman. Initially, I started speaking with his wife because she left an inquiry, and we agreed on a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
So he jumped in on that meeting and started saying, oh, you're realtors, you're all the same. I call you realtors,
Well,
and
I've
I'm
heard
like,
that 1,000 times.
oh, realtor. You probably don't know what realtor is. It's the whole association of realtors, which is an international status that you get, that you have to earn actually to be called a realtor. But a lot of agents, a lot of realtors, they, like a lot of people, what they see and what they hear, that a lot of realtors and agents, they screwed some people over.
Well, it doesn't matter. Look.
Let's. By the way,
Let me lay out the landscape, right? Because I don't want to keep talking about the past like a broken record,
But
right?
it's still happening.
Yeah.
It's still happening.
It's irrespective of whether it is happening or not, right? I mean, the fact that you need to be, you cannot be oblivious to it. You have to know it exists, right? But I would rather talk about in terms of what kind of recommendations would you put out there to address these problems rather than just talking about the problems, because I look at these agents very, very frequently. And for me, I'm all about the sales, right? I've been a salesman my entire life. In fact, I train teams all the time. I teach them. I'm like, guys, when you're doing sales, right? People think that you want to become a realtor, you come into this business, and to make a sale, what they think is that I come in here and I close a deal, I close a unit, right? I close this villa or apartment or whatever it is. That's not true. That's not what sales is, right? Sales is you nurturing somebody from one belief into another.
Transferring
Right.
your enthusiasm and confidence.
Absolutely. Because in order to sell an idea, and think about this, right? I mean, how has anything ever been realized on the planet? It's all through communication,
Of course.
right? So you and I will meet, and you will be maybe you will have a joint venture with me, you're a business partner, and we want to put this building up together, right? What are we going to do? We're just going to talk about it? Is that going to solve anything? No, it's not. We need to find people like Misha, who's a contractor, right? We need to find consultants. We need to find contractual groups. We need to put out tenders. We need to get in talks with supply chains to see how much concrete costs, iron costs. All of these materials are going to cost, right? If we want to put the structure up together.
First,
Right.
it's a discussion, planning, then execution.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
It's the same thing. It's the whole process. It's the experience.
100%.
A to Z. It is.
100%. Right, and you better be ready for that
And
when you
if
come into the
you're
market.
talking about it, you're selling the idea. Like if I'm sitting with you, as you said, oh, I want to build a building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that would be the reality. It's like, no, I need to find somebody like
And some
him.
people are like this. Seriously.
I
But
know. Trust me.
By the way, in between that, you have a lot of these micro moments as well.
And you have
because-
to give that look. Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
wanna
like,
sell a
hey,
building.
it's like, hey, if you don't invest with me, you're gonna get screwed. The point being is that I first need to find you
Yeah.
to put the capital together, don't I? I need to find you and I need to convince you first.
Don't
of all.
find me. No.
Mohammed, I won't find you yet. You're hiding in Egypt somewhere. You
He's racist, by the way. I'm joking.
only with you. Only with you.
He started with my blue.
Purple face when you turn red.
He's like, no, he's probably one of those like blueberry, blackberry kind of guys, you know?
Of course.
Blackberry.
Yeah. It's conversation. But either way, yeah, I think salesmanship is definitely that, because I find somebody like Mohammed's, right? He's a potential investor for this joint venture. I need to be able to sell my idea well enough to him in order to convince him.
With enough enthusiasm as well. Like
all
it's
of these points,
everything.
everything is inclusive of this, right? And in order for me to be able to transfer my belief about what I would like to have put into reality, for him to have the same belief about this, that's a salesmanship. Not this nonsense about you coming into the market and finding a client who's already been worked by another agent for the last 2 months, or they've come back 6 months later after a complete shift in financial
After I
circumstances.
told him about the building, he gave me his back.
No, but what I wanted to add.
That's
to
what I'm
that,
saying.
What I wanted to add to that.
He
No, I
sold
said-
the
I said-
idea, and you focused with him.
Yeah, because that's
That's-
you know, like that's
good.
enthusiasm. That's storytelling, everything.
It is.
No, but
it's
what
very
I've
important.
read,
Yeah.
what I've
If
read,
you're
in-
trying to become a salesman, right? Let me try to get my point across without you ugly mugs getting in the way now, right?
what I've read.
Right. So you got an agent coming into the market, right? What's an agent's first responsibility? the fact that they have no idea what they're doing, right? Every single agent I've spoken to in this market really, truly, Mohammed Mishik, truly do not understand the responsibilities on their shoulders.
Yeah,
True.
no,
Right?
that's true.
Yeah,
They don't. And maybe it's a subjective experience for me. I'm not saying the whole market is like that. I'm sure there's people there out there who are ethical and moral in the conduction of business.
Of course.
When you enter an industry like this, right, you have to be able to isolate two things. I've seen many different kinds of agents, right? Especially if you're in the start of a career, you're thrown into this wolf den and you don't really know what to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when we talk about the 5 pillars, coming back to that, there's responsibilities in each one in terms of how the agent ought to operate, right?
Yeah.
You come in there and you're thrown into this gladiators coliseum because there's 15,000 agents out there and every bastard's ready to run a knife through you, right? Just to take the client or deal away from you.
Yeah, it happens
Right?
a lot.
There is no training. There's no forward training. These people are coming into the market, irrespective of your past experience, by the way, irrespective of your past qualifications. Because it doesn't matter if you used to be a welder or a carpenter or a doctor or an accountant. Doesn't matter, right? If you've chosen this as a career, good for you. Stick to it.
Yeah.
You will fall in love with it if you like communicating with people. If people, communication is your... If you find enjoyment in that, you'll find an enjoyment in this work, right? So there is too much responsibility on the agent's shoulders, and they don't see it. Because if I'm a client and you're the agent, you can potentially screw me in a deal, can't you? You can.
Of course.
You can. Who pays the price? Me, not the agent.
And it goes the other way as well.
How? Tell me.
It goes from the buyer as well. The buyer can screw an agent if there is no documentation.
Oh, absolutely.
No,
So-
that was the case, but that's
But
true.
look-
That happens a lot of times in this market.
Look, what I'm trying to make in terms of points over there is that the agent entering this career has so little to rely on in terms of support, in terms of backbone, right? In terms of structure, in terms of accountability, in terms of responsibility, right? There's too little training done for these individuals,
True.
right?
True.
And I mean that in all the spectrums of our work, all of them, right? Because an agent might be ambitious. They might be looking after their client's best interests, but they're new. They're uneducated. Maybe they're intelligent, but they're uneducated. They don't know the past trajectories of this city. What actually succeeded, what failed, right?
And the possibilities
And
of
they-
And the possibilities, yeah.
They didn't
You're
hear
still,
stories.
you're still too untrained.
Yeah.
But does that mean you shouldn't have the right to sell? No, absolutely not. You should have the right to sell.
But remember about that, I wanted to add as well the thing. Remember you mentioned in one of our conversations that sometimes agents with the big past experience, right, with the long years, they have sort of a predicament in terms of the market and the project and the developers and things like that. They are not opening their eyes to new opportunities as well. So that's what also needs to be addressed, that these agents are not there to teach and limit the belief system of the new agents. So the new agents has to find out on their own and research the market on their own, with the help obviously, but not limiting the belief of the more experienced agents. Yeah.
Well, an academy.
But it can be a stigma as well, because if you have agents who are veterans in the market and they have certain dislikable opinions of certain parts of your job, that will stigmatize to the company. That was, people will start sharing that belief or sharing that opinion.
Yes, but that's my point. Yes.
But you want to be careful with that then, right? You want to make sure that the negative is cut ASAP. So as a company, I would definitely recommend that for you. If you find agents who are veterans in the market and they're so fixated on
doing one thing then the other,
such disillusioned ideas, right?
Excuse me.
There's all examples.
I've been in the market for a long time. Every time I pull out an agent and I start digging into, why do you have this opinion? Why do you think the market's moving like this? Why do you think that this project did this? Why do you think this failed?
And they don't have
an answer.
They don't have
They
an
never
answer.
have an answer. They never have an answer. You put them on the spotlight, mate. Why?
Why this project is good? Why
Yeah.
should I buy here?
Yeah, no one can answer.
It's
no
good. It's a good project.
No one can answer
Seriously?
you.
And
But you know
yes.
why? It's not always the agent's fault, because again, developers don't share with you how much they buy the land for, right? So you have no idea how these financial departments fix these prices per square foot. Are they justifiable?
But look at it also from the highest turnover in this industry in general is real estate industry. People come
Turnover
and
of
go.
what?
Turnover of people working in the industry. They're changing all the time.
I think that's
that's more of a
reflective
sales
of the the discipline, really. Yeah,
No,
sales.
turnover in terms of people. Like people joining and leaving, and leaving.
But this is
And by the way, this is also very important.
but that's
because we
synonymous
talked
of any
about
sales
we talked about
environment.
5 pillars.
especially commission
One of
based
the pillars
Yeah.
is the developer.
Yeah, it is.
Developer is actually the main aspect of this cycle.
Okay.
one
and
of the
One of the main,
One of the
but
5,
but
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
what I'm talking about the turnover part. When you look at developers, people, how many people changing every month or 2?
Yeah.
If you don't sell, you're out.
Mm-hmm.
Done. Period.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna mention names. You can name it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what these people will do, they will sell only.
Mm-hmm.
They have projects. They need to sell them.
but there's like
Yeah.
It's very important. Like really, trust me on this one. It's very very important. The only thing they
the
care.
pressure you mean
It's
the pressure
pressure,
from the
So,
industry itself
someone coming in
From
new.
the
from the
developer.
agents from
The
the
company,
developer
Someone coming in new doesn't have any clue about real estate or Dubai or anything. They're just coming new,
Mm-hmm.
joining a developer. It's very dynamic, very fast. So they work for 1-2 months. They did not sell anything.
Mm-hmm.
They're out.
But they also have a tough time because all the veterans in these developer offices already have all the agencies tied up to
But
them.
you know where it
Yes.
starts.
Right?
My point is where it starts. It starts pressure. Some of them were under pressure. They work really well and they only sell. They don't care about anything else. Yeah.
Mhm.
How many examples? I'm gonna give you examples.
Yeah.
People selling properties 50 kilometers away, Burj Khalifa, and they say it's Burj Khalifa view.
Yeah.
well 50 kilometers you can still
That's misguided
see.
information. I mean, come
but,
on.
But how many people were like this in the market?
Maybe in 2010. I don't see many agents like that today. When you
Today,
remember
today
what-
it's
when you're
reduced a lot.
when you're misleading like that.
But right now they are
Yes.
misleading
I don't
not
think
with
so,
the
man.
view. They are misleading not
But
with the
it
view,
was
but
happening.
with the numbers.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen.
It was
I'm not saying it did happen, but
Yeah.
I'm saying that it doesn't happen en masse. It doesn't happen in mass anymore.
Good.
Like
Maybe, yeah.
I don't see many complaints in developer offices where properties were sold with misinformation. Like
Well, if you're working with like big developers, definitely.
it's not even the agents who have responsibility for that because, come on, technology has
Yeah,
advanced so far that if I'm buying a property, I'm gonna get the name of the property. I'll go onto Google Maps and boom, I know everything about the location, about the
Exactly.
And the
Come
funny
on,
thing
yeah.
is that Google already pins the location once they launch. Once the developer launch the start of the sale,
Yeah.
the pin will be already there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
But
from the very
my
beginning.
point is not about Burj Khalifa, or my point is people will just do anything to sell.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
That's
yeah.
my point. Because they have a target, they didn't achieve a target, they're out.
I imagine what like the Chinese market would go through because I was listening to a podcast, I assume, or either maybe listening to what's it called? Maybe listening to somebody in the real estate market there, but they said that they have enough across China. They have enough empty, ready apartments or properties that can fit in the entire population of the UK and Germany all at once. It's a ghost town there.
Oh yeah,
Right.
I've heard something like that.
Yeah, they can fit all the population of the UK and Germany into all the empty properties across China. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
Like, how pressured would you have maybe this is cultural exposure, maybe this is like social exposure, I don't know what it is, or the relativity of this, but there's so many people buying all these properties and no one's ready to use them. They said something about like in China, for example, when you have a lot of neighbors, 10 neighbors, for example, 9 neighbors, they'll pool their money together and they'll buy an apartment. You
Yeah.
imagine that? So, like, it's pretty crazy, that. You don't have that in Dubai.
No, Dubai is more secure when it comes to this population, inflation, everything.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Dubai market is that how young it is like what 50, 60 years
Just a bit over 50.
Yeah.
Over 50.
So within this period of time, it took so many good things from different markets.
Yeah, true.
So many regulations that played out very
Hugely
good for the
in our
market.
favor.
Yes.
Yeah, huge.
Yes.
And still
Yeah.
more to
More
come.
to come,
Still
absolutely.
More to come,
to
of
come.
course.
Absolutely.
If you're talking about people hesitating to invest here, they are absolutely wrong. There is much more to come.
Hesitators are always like that. They'll hesitate no matter what,
Yeah.
right?
And a lot of people, they know when they invest now.
Yeah.
But that's what
No,
people
no.
are usually, especially like rich people, they know where the opportunity way before the masses know. So they always jump into those opportunities. They always
You know,
jump into this
I have
markets,
I have
unexplored markets.
I have it's my way of thinking about Creek Harbor, but I will never share it online, of course. That whenever I say this to anyone, they buy.
Okay.
They buy in the right project. Seriously.
Yeah.
I made a lot of profit for people there already.
Okay.
And I taught this to someone and they are following the same structure. And I'm not going to talk about it now.
No,
but
the-
it's
One thing-
accurate.
The benefits.
One thing I would like to talk about, I think it is synonymous with what you're saying. It sounds very
I
similar.
spoke to you
It
about
was very
this.
similar. I'm not sure about the topic exactly, but it sounds similar because what I teach the team all the time is to have organic two-way conversations with people, right? Because sales as an industry, as a discipline, I think is getting out of control. I think everybody wants a piece of it because the commission rates are becoming sexier and sexier, let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
So it's becoming a more and more inflated market. It's oversaturated right now. And in order to keep up, well, you need to be better than everybody else. But unfortunately, a lot of the market that comes in now, they're all following this robotic kind of mental script in terms of I'm going to come in, I'm going to do my phone calls. The phone calls will be like this. The phone calls will have their own script. I'm going to say hello. What do you want? Understand a little bit. Boom, done. Right? Nobody's really having organic conversations. Just two-way conversations.
Yeah, they're like
you know?
robotic conversations. That's so true.
Nobody's really having that, and I find that quite strange. Like,
You have.
Are
Are you interested in a? I
When
receive
I
myself these
re-entered-
calls until now. Are you interested to buy a property in Dubai? What the hell?
But this is
Seriously?
You know, sorry, by the way, before I cut you off there, but before I re-entered the market, I didn't have, I wasn't, my social group and network wasn't too expanded. But when I re-entered the market for about 4.5 years as an agent, I don't know, probably around 120, 130 people have now been added to my phone as contacts. Good friends of mine as well, who have become my clients over the course of these years. And I know each of them by name. I know each of their scenarios. I know each of their family stories. And it was always about just sitting down with the person. Maybe I had the advantage back then. Maybe because it was the recession. But, nobody was in a rush. No one was rushing. It's like if you don't want to buy a property, take a bloody month, mate. That property's not going anywhere.
True.
Maybe we had more time. But we could sit down with clients and we can have these organic conversations. Because no one's pulling your leg. No one's telling you, oh my God, the unit's about to sell out and the project's coming out and it's about to sell out in 2 or 3 hours,
Yeah, there's some people
Yeah.
are doing this until now. If
But
you
that's
did
the
not
reality.
buy now,
This
if
is-
you
yeah,
didn't
this is
buy
the
now,
reality. This is the
But that is the reality
yeah,
on
yeah,
some
it
projects.
is.
I mean, what can you do?
Buildings are being sold out like
No,
in
some projects,
minutes.
of course, it's
Yeah.
even sold before it starts. You know?
But look, in all honesty, I mean, like if you're dealing with the local market who's already experienced with how things operate here, the speed of things, then yeah, you can apply that with no forethought. Or maybe if you're doing like reselling to your existing client pool, right? That's fine.
Like no,
But when you're dealing with international clients internationally, and you don't have the patience to nurture that, think about it like a garden, right? I'm planting a garden. I'm going to have 50 conversations over this week. And maybe some of the seeds will turn, maybe some of them will be weeds, some of them will be plants, some of them will be trees, But I want to reap the benefits of that garden long term. I don't want to pluck one plant out and then have to redo the entire bloody thing. People don't understand that. And the only way you do that is by having organic conversations. If it's not a dialect and it's not two-way, you're not having a conversation because you're not listening to the other person.
This is what I noticed about most of the successful realtors here in Dubai is that And not only like for in terms of like international buyers, right? When they having a phone call conversation with them, this is absolutely different approach they take. They always talk about like they always describe the city, they always describe the market, they educate the client to the point where the client is on the same level of knowledge as they are, and then they only from there they will start to propose or advice to take this property or that property. Let's take a look at this. What I really like in the market is when people saying to their consumers is like, hey, I really like this project myself, and I would buy there myself, so I advise you to buy there.
I want to ask both of you two questions.
Yeah.
Which is more important for you from your perspective, a farmer or a hunter?
A hunter who's
How can
farming.
one exist without the other?
For you, which is more important, a buyer or a seller?
How can one exist without the other?
For you, which is more important, a buyer or a seller?
Like, come on, man, they're equally proportionate. It's a client.
Okay, and for you?
You don't treat other people differently.
My mistake was to believe that sellers were more important than buyers. But eventually I realized that, it is more of a, I would say 60-40.
For who?
For buyers.
For buyers?
Yes.
So you're more empathetic towards buyers than you are sellers?
In some case, yes. Because like during this market especially, like I was brought up in the market where it was like, from the COVID times, when
it can be the case.
When there was a correction and the buyers were saying, okay, I won't sell less than 2 million for a studio apartment. We'd be like, oh, come on, just get a brain or something.
Yeah.
And whereas in today's market, we still meet these kind of people on an everyday basis, and you're very empathetic towards buyers because, okay, look, Mr. Buyer, Mrs. Buyer, this is the case. That guy just have a little bit of a complication, or let's say like difficulty in terms of the agreement with us. So we'll look into some other things. So let's work on this then. Let's work on that then.
See, it was a very random question, right? A hunter, a farmer, or a buyer, or a seller. Each one of them is equally important. And I'll tell you why.
These are some bloody philosophical trick questions.
Yeah, like
I'll tell you why. Some people are farmers. They like to build relationship, and this is how they are successful. That's their own way. And others, they are hunters. They have a target, and the people they meet, they're also fast decisions. They make decisions fast because they know the market. They know that they can't wait, and they know they just wanna hit and run.
All right.
So,
hit and run.
Yeah, these kind of buyers or these kind of sellers will match with hunters, and some others will match with farmers, and all of them are important. Depends on who you are, your personality, and depends on the person you're dealing with. That's why it's a two-ways communication. There is no such a thing called something is more important than the other.
Yeah, that's what I would agree with. I mean, I when you asked me that question, I thought they were both equally as important.
There's always random questions.
Yeah, because it's so subjective. Because sometimes maybe it's a family member who's a buyer. Maybe sometimes it's a family member who's a seller, right?
But still, it depends on who you represent, to be honest. But because you still have the fiduciary duties as an agent, and some agents just don't realize that. And I keep telling them, like in newcomers in our company, like I keep repeating that, look guys, we have responsibility, we have a fiduciary duties. Those are duties, actual duties in front of the clients that we represent. So we have to work, we have to find, we have to look for the best thing there is, not just push them towards like every whatever project there is on the market, because there are still good and still bad projects.
Yes, I agree. And if I think about everything we've spoken about today, I say we can just all blame the agents.
No, of course.
I think we should.
Hey, but jokes aside, seriously. So all the agents watching, yeah, and all the agents listening up there, if you're having a start to this entire journey, I would really recommend, right, you don't panic about the entire thing, right? Number one is that you probably want to meet all the developers. You probably want to know the areas. You want to know the orientation of the city.
Yeah.
Okay, you must know a little bit about the history, I think. And then one of the most easiest ways to enter this entire thing is definitely to come in there with quite an open, left-leaning liberal mind. Because if you come in there with very low expectations and you keep money as a byproduct of the industry, which is truly where it belongs, leave money as a byproduct. Money's going to come one way or the other, right? When money is no longer a priority, the priority becomes the conversation.
The reputation.
Well, it can become many things, right? Yeah. For me, it became the conversation with the individual, right? That was my priority. You know, I came into the market, I was an agent, I made my cut, I made my sales, and I made my money. And after that, I would come into the meetings completely, you know, free of financial stress. I've got my safety net. And you know what? I think the biggest revelation was that when you don't have these existential concerns about life and worries and checks and bills and all that, you know, I think that at that point when you speak to people, you really do want to find out about them, right? There's no hidden agenda. True. When you're speaking to clients. At that point I understood, because when I was asking clients, I'm like, listen, why are you looking for this villa in Dubai Hills Estate? Why? The comparison in terms of prices, X, Y, Z, you have your data, right? Mm-hmm. It's clearly not about the price, so there must be some other reason you're looking for this. True. It's like, and you know, it really opens up, and you'd be surprised how quickly people open up to you. If you give them the time of day, and you give them the respect, and you give them the time of day, that's very important, right? If you're listening to them, they'll tell you everything that they want about their home. True. They'll tell you everything that they want about their entire venture in this industry, right? And if you as an agent, try this, right? I mean, I've learned this from a modern day psychologist. He keeps referencing Carl Rogers, and I think it's one of the most positive influences that I've had in my life is that when you're speaking with people, if you really want to understand somebody, like truly understand their points of view by putting yourself in their shoes and feeling their emotional responses, once they're done talking, repeat what they said to them in a summarized format and ask them, am I right? Am I right in understanding you? Right?
Yeah, definitely.
And you know what? When you start doing that with clients, you'll realize 80% of the time you're wrong. Right? Mm-hmm. And then you'll slowly start understanding that you have so much to listen to about these people.
You should listen.
You should. Because you'll learn so much. Mm-hmm. If you don't, you run tremendous risk. Right? The domino effect, it's not a joke. It really is not. Because if a mortgage buyer comes to you, right, they are the ones who are going to face the vicissitudes of the next 25 years, not you. Mm-hmm. Right? So take it seriously. Really. Right? As an agent, you should. You really should, I think. That was my campaign speech for president, right?
Who's still looking at he's still looking at me.
Yeah.
I train people, I manage people. Dan, this is what I like.
Yeah, man.
Really.
I hear you.
I love this. It's my true passion.
That's a good thing. Yeah.
What does Misha do?
Who?
What does Misha do?
I don't know.
What is his passion? What is his passion?
I don't know.
Misha?
My passion is honestly, when I came here to Dubai, the second day I started doing real estate because my friend actually he worked in the company and I really wanted to join that company. And when I joined that company, I was so fascinated. It's like, oh wow, Dubai. Mm-hmm. I was like so in those pink glasses. Yeah, like stars. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my god, where am I gonna see those police cars driving like Bugattis and stuff, Bugatti police cars? And then I looked at it, it's like, oh, it's just a regular city. So the laws, the proper like human nature laws I'm talking about, like are pretty much the same. Yeah. Humans are the same here.
Sure.
It is safer. It is.
Are they the same? Are they the same here?
Yeah.
The whole world is the same. Are you serious? Oh my god. Yeah, he's looking at me.
Yeah, I know.
I know. We're all alien.
Seriously?
No, but yeah, I joined real estate.
I know him. We always have these conversations.
I did
It's
not.
unbelievable with Mohammed sometimes. Yeah,
I
so-
did not know why I joined real estate at the very beginning. I just jumped into it because I thought that, oh, it's pretty cool to sell houses, right? Ain't it? It is.
Sure.
You know. So, like I had a vision that, oh my God, I'm gonna sell those luxury villas and everything. Like, and eventually, in the end of the day, I stumbled on the only couple of them. Only couple of the luxury villas, luxury penthouses, and.
Did you get lost in sight?
Lost in what?
Did you get lost in sight?
What?
You're talking about it like this.
No, yeah, but eventually,
Willy
like.
Wonka's chocolate factory, like in the 50 stories it's got or something.
No, but yeah, when the penthouse is like, almost 10,000 square feet, it is like huge and
Yeah,
huge.
they are massive,
You look at those like in the
Some of the ones on Palm Jumeirah are just massive. Aren't
yeah, and villas like incredible quality villas, beautiful finishes, everything is just amazing. And you look at it and it's like you're having a conversation with the seller and it's like it's just a regular guy, and he owns like hundreds of millions of dollars in his bank account, in his assets, in total assets. It's like you look at it as like he's just a regular guy.
This is the way you should look at people in general. That it's the same.
Regular
Everybody's the
people.
same.
So
It's one of those cliches.
not someone as
but what I
chocolate,
learned. But what I learned.
Too bad you can never enjoy white chocolate.
Yo.
You know what? He's jealous.
That's right.
But what I learned is that the communication you can the amount of people that you meet throughout this time, me being in the industry 2 years, I've met so many people from different corners of this world, different cultural backgrounds, from different education, different industries, and it's really like I found my path and my passion in real estate just by working in it, because you meet a lot of very interesting individuals in this industry.
I could not agree with that more. I think if you remove the bias when you're coming into the industry, understand that you're going to meet some people who are going to change the entire direction of your life, right? Because if you make this a career, sooner or later you're going to meet some friends. You're going to meet some partners. You're going to meet some business partners. You might meet a lot of different individuals and faces.
You will learn a lot.
You will learn a lot.
You're learning anyways.
If you're willing to listen, you will learn.
Of course.
If you're willing to listen, you will learn.
There are a lot of smart people that obviously, like, there's no dumb people who made a lot of money and bought a villa on Palm Jumeirah, right? There are like just maybe a few of them.
Yeah.
Maybe a few of them, but still, like when you're having a conversation with those kind of people, it's like absolutely different level.
Interesting.
Like, but it is also strange because, look, in a market that is so volatile, which Dubai is, let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
I would say that once upon a time, a consumer would value the education of an agent. I would say that once upon a time that was true. I don't think that's the case so much anymore. I think it's more about the charisma of the agent now, the person's likability.
It's a mix of everything. It's not only one thing.
I think it's 80-20.
But I've seen a very heavy shift towards the emotional buyers than the more pragmatic buyers before.
I think it is like every
very important.
Every purchase is emotional. Like it is just when you go and buy something, you actually having the feeling of enjoying something, like enjoying the product that you buy, right? Currently or in the future. It doesn't matter which way. So that's why every like agent who is charismatic and actually can transfer this passion, his charisma to other people, they will buy from them instead of this, like grumsy guy who's like coming to the seller or to the buyer and says, okay, this villa is gonna cost 90 million. This 90 million we can make in 5 years, like this much money, and like who is gonna buy the guy?
Yeah.
Who, like you'll be sitting there. Half of the words would not make sense to you. That's the first thing. The second thing, you wouldn't even listen to the guy because you would think how his tone of voice would be putting you to sleep. Like it's the form of ASMR to some people. You know, like you'd be falling asleep. And whereas from the other hand, where you see the agents are like, all right, so this villa is 90 million. In 5 years, year by year, we will be making 1 million, 1 million, 1 million. So like the difference is like very significant.
You know what? Even though people don't believe us, they sure as hell like to hear it, don't they? Yeah, when you tell somebody, even a skeptic, you tell that person in the right way that they can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Boom, you got them.
It's emotions. It's so powerful.
But that's what I've read in one of the books.
It's not so much about the convincing, actually. It's more about the disattachment of belief. That's more important than actual convincing. Because if I meet a hard-headed bastard who is so unmoving in his or her opinion, the only thing that you will do at that point is to crack their belief system. That's all you need to do. That is all you need to do. If you relay a message well enough, whether it's delicately, impassionately, or profoundly enough, you can crack their belief. And that's enough, because if you plant a seed of disbelief within their belief structure, they'll be thinking about you at night.
And that seed will grow into a plant.
They'll be thinking about you at night, mate. They'll be thinking about, you know what, maybe Mohammed had a good point there. Maybe I should ring him up tomorrow and see what's going on.
You've seen that video about Muhammad Kahtani, the one who was talking about the power of words?
No.
It's a funny video, actually, but he was serious. I think it's all over social media. It's an old video, actually. He was talking about, I don't want to talk about it now, but it's very interesting. You have to watch it.
Just brief the point.
Briefly is the way you deliver your words are power.
Absolutely.
Like, it is so powerful.
Completely.
I think it's 40. Like in the end of the day, I think 50% of the whole communication is just emotions that you transfer to other people. 5% will be words, and 45% the tonality of the tonality of your voice.
And the delivery of
the words will play very little in terms of how the conversation is structured.
No, words will play more than 5%, because again, it is the words that are the bridge of the emotion. Because if the words are incorrect and you associate emotion to it, then that's called crazy. You look like an idiot. You look like a crazy, senile bastard. It's like the guys who are waving their bloody hands around who don't know what the hell they're doing. Right? You're talking nonsense, but you're behaving passionately about it. Doesn't make sense. You know, you have to support it with the right words. And I think you're you're underestimating that 5% of what the words actually are, because it ties into education very heavily there, right?
No, of course, but that's another point. Whereas I'm not talking that 5% of words, of the actual words in the communication, should be like just 5% should be 100 in terms of education, of the level of the knowledge and everything. Overall in the communication, I think that's tonality and emotions that is being transferred, body language and everything.
No, I think it's 3, and they all have a third of the magnitude of responsibility.
Still, see, anything subjective have different opinions. You believe something, and it depends on the...
But how do you make somebody else believe, right? Because I've met many salespeople, and a lot of them seem to be misguided and just quite frankly lost. I'll say it as it is, yeah. Sitting on the chairs and they're fidgeting around on their phones, on their social medias. They have no idea what they're doing. I think they're either killing time here, or they're just happy they found a job.
This
right?
is the
in
point.
Some cases. I mean, I'm talking that as a rarity, sure, but there are people like that. Hear this. Check this out.
Oh, you're going to say something?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm listening.
Okay.
Hit me.
I'm not
oh no, don't.
I can't say that. But you know.
Thank God.
Anyway, back to a serious note. I think that if you have 8 talents, but subcategorized and compartmentalized into 3 categories. To be a good salesman, right, you have to be a good storyteller. You have to be a good storyteller. Of course. Right?
It has to be natural, and then you enhance it by learning.
If you cannot captivate an audience, you've not even left the starting line. with the other agents, right? With the other salespeople. Because these guys, the guys who can tell stories well, they can captivate you. And they can leave you feeling like you're in an ice-chilled room at the end of it. Because the way that they express their emotions and the image that is painted within the depths of your imagination with these people, it is something that is incredible, right?
But what is the word?
The storytelling is very important, but in this storytelling, you have to also include the tonality, the body language.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So, 3 points, right? So
What
one of them is storytelling. Another one of them.
Should I go?
I should look at the glass behind you. Yeah. Just let me look at the picture behind you. Let me look at the picture. I mean, do you want to say something? Go ahead.
Of course, I want to say my perspective as well.
I mean, go ahead.
Everyone is
If I can't
saying
give up,
their
sorry.
perspective. A storyteller.
Are you going to stop me and tell me your perspective about every point before I give you all three?
No, because it's still subjective. I can say
It's
my
like the police is
story.
writing up your ticket. It's like, how many fines should I give you? It's like, hey, stop. Hey, the parking. Let me explain that. And then it's like, okay, next fine. It's like, hey.
I can say a story
Sorry.
that I know the ins and outs of it. Or I can create a story that if someone asks me a question and I'm really passionate about saying the story, I'll not be able to answer because I'm creating the story on the go. But if I know the ins and outs and I'm saying the story and I'm delivering the message, I know how to answer any question. And someone else cannot deliver the story.
Sure.
So 3 different aspects. It all depends on knowledge supports your talent.
I think if there's any single
You
individual,
need to be talented first.
I think any single individual can relay any kind of story in whatever way that they like. It all depends on how much they want to do it, right? It is not something that is born in each and every individual separately. We are all actors to some degree, right? And yeah, some people are talented, some people are not, fine. But we can all, at least the majority of us, can reach a mediocre threshold. And mediocrity is more than enough in that part.
I disagree.
Why?
I'm joking.
Of course. So just punch me in the face next time.
He's always doing this.
Objection.
But look,
No,
check this out.
Objection.
No, seriously.
Check this out, right? So coming back to it. 3 things. And tell me, I mean, if you want, go ahead and break them down point by point, no problem. One of them is storytelling, right? Another one is having a sense of humor, right? If you cannot bring in a sense of humor to lighten the mood up frequently when you're speaking with people, right? There's you're going to have very rigid conversations. They're going to be very kind of uncomfortable sometimes, I think. But if you bring in a good sense of humor, you're on the right path. Okay? Now, what else could we add into that equation? I mean, I did have a third point, but I'm blanking right now.
Oh, it happens sometimes.
It does.
It's
It does.
crazy.
I made him lose that.
Just one look, just one look at you, and I'm like
Drifting.
Anywho,
It's good to.
there's a storytelling, sense of humor, and the fact that you're also a highly emotional person. That's the one.
Emotionally
Emotional charisma.
intelligent.
No, you can use whatever taxonomy you want.
Oh,
for the
emotional
phrase, but
emotional
sure.
intelligence is really important. If you're not emotionally intelligent, and I'm not gonna talk about emotional intelligence because it's a very long subject, you cannot be in sales.
You always
Seriously.
can be in sales. You always can learn things. You can always.
You can learn, but can
like-
you learn to be emotionally intelligent?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Manipulatively, you can.
You can learn the aspects of it,
Yeah.
but if it's not natural, it will not be delivered. Trust me on this one. It's my perspective. You
If
believe
it is
or
not
take-
natural, no, I don't think so. I've made plenty of charismatic talks and pitches unnaturally, but I think what element that you're talking about,
how can you show empathy?
the element you're talking about
By
is
learning.
desire. It's the desire. Do you want to do it or not?
How
That's
can
true.
you be genuine if you're not genuine? How can you learn to
You
be
can
genuine?
know about.
You're playing
how
Inception with me or what? So,
There is,
I'm
there
not
is like
talking
how can you know what a dog is if you don't know what the dog is? Like obviously you go and
I
see
would-
the dog and you know
Yeah.
what the
It's-
dog
it's a
is. You
process.
learn about the dog. You Google about the dog, right?
And
And
then-
eventually you'll be like, okay,
But how
that
you're
is a
treating
dog.
the dog?
What?
How you're treating the dog.
What do you mean? You Google it, you find out what that is, you get an education, you like not get an education, you learn about this stuff. You learn about
emotional why people are different.
I really like the point actually.
What
the
is
fact that you're saying it's emotional intelligence? I would actually
I
like to hear you break that down.
I'll give you a small example.
Yeah.
A small example of
I will
highly
argue this
emotional,
point
intelligent
till
person.
I don't know, till I turn
Let's
to the
guys, let's all
It's
agree.
not an argument.
Let's all agree to not cut one another off because it's getting messy. Yeah, let one person talk.
It's not an argument. It's a point of view. It's my personal perspective.
Okay.
Agree or disagree. It's my personal. You can disagree. It's fine. But let's talk about the people treating other people. Okay, if you're talking to someone who you look down on, like let's take it clients wise, someone whose budget is 200,000 dirhams and someone else his budget is 20 million. Okay, if you are emotionally intelligent by nature, you're gonna treat both equally. The way you're treating them, the way you're caring about their money, this is real emotional intelligence. But if you are learning emotional intelligence, you're gonna ignore that one and you'll go to the one who's gonna bring more benefits with you. But you're gonna apply the emotional intelligence you've learned with that person. Okay? If you're naturally emotionally intelligent, you're gonna treat from A to Z equally. This is my point about, and it's my perspective.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing or making you believe that this is the right thing. You can believe it or not. That's what I'm saying. Each one is different. There are things you can learn, but there are things that you're naturally born with. Mm-hmm. You can enhance it, but like musicians, if your voice is not like, you can't sing, you can learn to sing, but you'll not be like someone who's really naturally a singer.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't.
Impossible.
I do not agree with you on this.
You don't have to agree. It's fine.
But there are vocal coaches, right?
Of course.
Amazing.
For example, my voice.
Maybe you can't learn it in that way, but maybe you can uncover a hidden talent.
That's true, and
good,
a lot of
what
a lot of those coaches actually they were saying that a lot of people, they initially from the moment they are born, they already have a voice. It's just uncovered. That's the same thing. How do you teach a child what
they were natural with that talent, right? This is my point.
How do you teach a child what?
Some people, you will never be able to teach them how to sing.
How do you teach?
It's impossible.
How do you teach a child what a sadness is?
I don't know.
You cannot. They will feel it themselves. This is, every person has an emotional intelligence.
Well, I mean, you guys should have kept talking. You should not have been distracted by that.
When I was like, single.
Anyways,
this is an endless.
Talk about a good first podcast.
An endless conversation.
Talk about a first good day. Yeah.
But it's very important when it comes
Look,
to...
I think the purpose of this anyways, again, coming back to it, is the education of the markets.
Yeah.
Education of consumer. It's not a consumption industry. Investors, right? So we got plenty to talk about, I'm sure, right?
This is
but
only the...
Ideally, what we want to achieve with this, what I want to achieve with this anyways, if you have different agendas, but I would like, hopefully, after a few episodes, to at least help educate the agents.
We will.
Right, in terms of what they ought to be doing.
We're going to be showing numbers in other episodes and how we read statistics.
Absolutely. I mean, for those agents who are in the market for a while, if they're open-minded, you're always even welcome to come and join us for a talk if you fancy.
Of course.
Right? Yeah, we're more than happy to invite anyone to the show, and get a mix of opinions.
Yeah,
it's good.
And see how we can take this. I mean, if it turns out to be a success, we'll keep doing it.
Perfect.
Of course,
I agree. I think it will be.
Anything you guys want to say before we finish up
the
viewers?
I really think it will be.
Yeah.
And I think people will enjoy that. They will want to have more of that.
Yeah.
Like real talk.
Yeah. No. Obviously, of course, and. I'm pretty sure that a lot of not only agents but people who would be on the internet, just scrolling down, they would definitely would like to know about what we're doing here. Not only us as an agency, not us as an agents, but in general, what realtors are doing here in Dubai.
Yeah.
Not all of us are making millions. Not all of us, driving Bugattis to work as they show in some of those reality shows. But
Ferraris.
yeah,
I think you want a Bugatti, huh?
Yeah, Bugatti, yeah,
You
of
want a
course.
Bugatti.
Who wouldn't want it, right? But yeah.
By the way, just we're all on the same page. Misha over here has decided to stop drinking for some time, and a personal agenda of mine would be maybe by episode 8 or maybe by episode 3 we'll have a nice bottle of whiskey here, and
this thing
that would
is,
be such a big temptation for me.
share a glass with us. I mean, ideally before episode 3 it should happen.
we'll
Let's
see
see.
about
No, I actually, I forgot to mention that I quit smoking as well. I quit smoking as well.
and drinking,
Yeah.
Good man.
smoking as well.
Good
Yes,
man.
yes.
Aye.
I don't smoke.
So that's why,
Congratulations, man.
Mamas,
Really.
you take care of the cigars, I'll take care of the booze.
No, the
Okay.
Episode 3,
Done.
yeah.
the cigars. Yeah, I'm down for cigars
Then
because
get
cigars.
cigarettes, something that he doesn't like.
He's not gonna enjoy it.
Anywho, guys,
my
it was a
God.
pleasure, right? It was wonderful
It was
to
really
have this
pleasure,
conversation. And again, we'll see, depending on the feedback, we'll see how far we can take this. And hopefully today was informative, one way or the other.
Yeah.
And if it was, we'll pump out a few more episodes regardless,
Yeah, of
right?
course.
We'll see how this works. And
Down.
if we had, if we get even a step or an inch closer to educating the market, hopefully through agents, whether you're new or a veteran, for investors as well, we'll give you some tips and tricks along the way. And
If we got one comment, continue. We're gonna do this.
yeah,
Yeah.
good enough. Yeah. So good night, everyone. We'll see you on the
Bye.
next one.